What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here. One thing, I was putting everything away and I remembered there is one piece here that I always forget to transform, and it's these pieces here when he's in his Star Saber mode, and you just kind of push them down and flip them around to kind of change the visuals of the front there. So the rest of the review is going to stay red, but I just wanted to point that out so that step wasn't missed. Alright, on to the review. What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review, and today we're taking a look at Masterpiece 24 Star Saber. That's right, it is Masterpiece time again, and I couldn't be more excited. Star Saber here has the luxury of being the biggest masterpiece we've got, and the smallest. Let's get this right out of the way. Here is his little Brain Master guy. Let's see if we can focus. There we go. Here is the Headmaster from the 2014-2015 Brainstorm, and here is our MP Mushface, and you can see just how tiny this guy is. Articulation on this guy, he's got little pinned shoulders and little pinned legs, no problems there, nothing that feels like they're gonna break. Perfectly spaced and sized, so you can take your cockpit, open it on up, and let him ride inside. Now, the one thing that kind of worries me, I don't like pushing too hard on the plastic glass, so I kind of pull this a little bit while I'm doing that, just so I don't want the cockpit to crack or anything. But once he's in, you can see he fits in there nice, he looks good in there. Zero complaints about that. That's looking awesome. Now, before we go on, let's point out that he comes with a slew of accessories, some of which just fell on the floor. The first one being this little blade hilt for the actual saber. You can put that in nice chrome. Maybe you see me there, I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, so this is designed for the small robot. The problem with this is he has too many accessories, things that there's no place to go. I typically end up just putting it in that screw hole just so I don't lose it, because this is not a masterpiece that I feel compelled to have in the combined form at all times. I enjoy every piece of this masterpiece. So yeah, but let's take that, and you can actually take these and you can slide them in here. They showed that in the robot mode. They are completely unhindered when put into the vehicle mode. So you got that, and you got the longer one, and that goes right in the other side. Good, stored away. You've got a gun. The gun has a flip out handle for when he's in his combined mode. You can just fold that away and put that right on the V-Star for extra firepower. You've got a shield. It's just crazy how reminiscent of Gundam this whole thing is. This looks like a Gundam shield, he looks like a Gundam toy, but he's Star Saber. But you got this shield, and you can, whoa, you can pop off this part of plastic here and leave the shield like this. Then they came with these two pieces here, and what you have to do is take these, this slides into the top part of the shield here, like this, and then you take this piece and you slide it together, and once it's together, it's pretty hard to get apart. It makes it pop there, and this is actually a stand for your V-Star, like this. So as you can see, the V-Star does have landing gear. We'll just fold them on up and fold them away. Very loud clicks on this piece. On this piece, it just kind of folds up here and then folds in, folds up and in. And there we go. Now we got a nice platform for our V-Star, so it doesn't have to be on the ground landed. And then you've got this piece, which will come into play when we get into the full combined mode. It is an extension piece for the hilt of the sword. So let's take a look at the little Saber jet by itself. Very nice detailing, the chrome detailing there. Very pretty, very sleek, nice looking jet. You do have the landing gears on here, which we can fold up, and you can see a visible robot, but really, I'm not going to complain. You know, interestingly enough, this almost feels like they could recast this and make a Metal Hawk out of just this piece here, and probably be fairly successful with it. It just reminds me a lot of Metal Hawk from all sides. So very cool. Now, one thing with Star Saber here is he always had a combined vehicle mode, and you do that simply by folding these wings up like this. The stand clips in, so it's really nice. Let's raise this camera so we can see this a little better. We take this, we open these little panels here, and they tell us to take it and kind of angle it on in like this and clip it on up, and then we can close these here, and we've got the combined Star Saber vehicle mode. Pull it back here so we can try to get the whole thing in camera. Very big, very massive vehicle. I am quite alright with this. The one thing, the instructions tell you to leave these up. I actually personally prefer them down. I'm not sure. I guess they were up in the TV show, but for some reason this just looks better to me. But you do have that option if you want to put them down. Otherwise you can leave them up like the instructions say. To remove the vehicle from, or the Saber jet from this, there is a little black button here, and that actually releases down here the little clip that holds them in. You can see as I push the button, that releases that clip, so it unclips it from there. So very cool, very well thought out. So I suppose the next thing we need to do is actually take a look at Saber here himself in his vehicle or robot mode. So we'll start by taking out the little Brainmaster guy, and I am very sorry if I have the wrong names for all these. I'm not too well versed in Victory, so if I get it wrong, I'm sorry. If someone wants to leave a comment below and tell me what's the name of the Brainmaster, is this Saber, and the whole thing is Star Saber, I'd love to know. It's one of the series I'm definitely lacking on. Anyway, from here we pull this piece off, and it's kind of a little bit of a cheat for what it is, but it's okay. And we'll take this and we'll fold this down, and you can see that landing gear will just kind of peg in through there. As we come to here, you can see we got the upper end of a robot. We'll unpeg these little white pieces and bring them all the way on up like this. Now take this, and this is pretty masterpiecey. We take this and fold it on down, and this joint slides all the way around to make the arm, and then the hand folds out. Yes, hollow in here, but based on how this thing transforms, I understand why, and I'm not going to fault it on that. Take this, swing it on around like that. There we go. So we got most of the robot mode done. The next thing to do is to actually take the feet, and I find it easier to separate them first and slide them all the way out. And you see the yellow bits reveal themselves. He ends up being fairly tall. And we flip out the feet, and we'll just go ahead and just flip these wings on back like this. And you can see we've got pretty much the robot mode here. And it looks pretty solid. And if you knew about Brainmasters back in the day, you open this, the Brainmasters would go inside their vehicle here, and you would then close the door, and it would raise the head. And it's pretty neat to see that, you know, they've taken this old technology that, you know, it existed back in the 90s, but they've taken it, and you have to make sure that he's pegged in. Make sure he's not going to fall out. If he's not pegged in, you're going to have trouble getting it up. But they took this, and it still, once again, as you close the door, raises the head. I was just blown away with how cool that was. Made even cooler that his head can still actually rotate and stuff. No up and down on it, but that's pretty awesome. Well done. So let's talk articulation on this guy. His head, you saw, is already rotating. He has a fairly good range on the shoulders there, I would say. I mean, you know, what else do you want? They do go all the way around, but they do tend to get hung up on his... Actually, they don't go all the way around because they do get hung up on that. I thought they did. Yeah, they can. You just have to kind of be mindful of that wing stuff. Bicep swivel, the actual elbow. The wrist is on a rotation. The fingers are all jointed together, but they open. I mean, just so well done. Very well done. No waist, mostly because of the gimmick. That's fine. The legs are a bit weird. I'll give them that. The joints on the legs, really solid this way. Quiet this way. Weird. I don't understand that. The in and out on this is a little bit limited. I guess that's a complaint because I can't get him to, you know, do much with his legs. They're basically these blue pieces swivel. But considering that he is a piece of a much larger robot, you know, I can understand why it is how it is, and I still don't think that's too big of a deal. It works just fine. Coming down to the knee, you get 90 degrees, and you do have stiff this way and the knee joint here, and then nothing really on the feet except that rotation. So overall, very good. For a quick comparison here, here he is next to that Voyager Combiner Wars Optimus, and you can see he's a pretty good size compared to this Voyager toy. So he is definitely up there. I wanted to bring a Masterpiece car. I forgot to bring it up with me. He's a little bit shorter than your typical Masterpiece car, but definitely taller than Bumblebee. So very nice size. So to avoid confusion, let's actually transform him back to his jet mode just so you can see how that works. It is a little tough getting the Brainmaster out occasionally, but it's not too bad. We'll just unpeg all these pieces, rotate this back on up, and rotate the fist back closed. Rotate it up and closed. Oops, let's put his fist away, there we go. Just like that. These pieces now come down here, like so, and we'll clean them up as we get back to the jet. We can collapse his feet on in. And one thing, if you have trouble with this, the instructions didn't really note this to me. This cockpit actually moves. I guess you can make Saber's head look a little bit better when it's closed up. But yeah, if you have trouble getting this all to collapse, check the cockpit, make sure that it's properly closed up. There we go. Those slide back in, slide this together, and now we can clip that. We can take these white pieces now and clip them into the sides of the legs there, like so. The way these white pieces kind of clip in is not very good, but not a deal breaker. Take them, fold these little white wings down, like so. Flip this little piece back up, and then just simply plug it back in, and we got his jet mode again. So let's get the V-Star transformed so we can get him to his Star Saber mode. I take this off. The instructions show you don't really have to, but I take the helmet off and fold that all away just for making my life easier. These little antennas, they will be up when you first get them, but the instructions show them down, and with a little bit of force, they will come down, just like that. So I always take this helmet off first. It's just easier to work with it when it's out of the way. Next, we'll take the stand off. Let's take this away. We might as well turn it back into its shield again for our combined mode. And now we're left with the actual core of the V-Star. So, what we're going to do is pop the feet apart like this. That's going to free up this back panel, and you can see how the sabers are still there. Just like that. And let's bring this up, because I don't think it's going to be easy to see. There we go. Next thing to do is to unplug the hands from the thigh here. And this works by folding all the way up and like that, and you'll hear it click into place. Very solid. We'll come down here and flip this toe out and flip the whole thing up, making a really solid foot. And these little wings fold on in and fold back. So we'll do that again. Hopefully you'll see it. Disconnect the hand from the thigh. Whoops, there we go. Everything just wants to move when you do that. Take this, plug it on in, come down here, disconnect the red piece, flip it up, and there we go. We got most of the V-Star done. We'll just come to the back here, and this piece here, it kind of folded up on us anyway. We'll fold it up like that, and then disconnect this little blue panel here and fold this up in place. We might need to come back to this piece to take it down to get the actual Saber part in. The Saber part's a little bit weird to deal with, and these telescope on out just like that. So this is essentially the core of what we're going to work with. We can open these little black pieces, and we'll go ahead and get Saber ready. So here we've got our Saber, and we're going to start by pretty much trying to put him back into his jet mode here. Just like that. Bring this in. Then we take these and we fold them on down as far as we can. Like so. There will be a little bit of a gap on the sides here. Then what we're supposed to do, fold his little feet in, peg these together, and it's a little easier not to peg them together because of the joints, but fold this up, and I also fold this little panel up to get as much clearance as we can on both sides here, like that. And then you just kind of fold his knees up, and you do collapse them just a tiny bit so they're kind of level with his head like that. And now we got this thing going on, and this is where it's kind of difficult if you ask me. So we have to take him and we have to put him into this piece here, which these red wing bits kind of hold themselves up on these pieces here, but they will slide there. So you slide them in and then you push them down. So it's going to be really fairly difficult for me to show this on camera, but you take it and you push it in until it clicks on both sides. We got one side. I am not a huge fan of this part. See if we can get any help with the button here. There we go. Nope, not yet. There we go. Clipped in, and you can kind of push him down, make sure he's on that black peg there. And we'll bring this up a little bit more. There you go. So you can see that. We can fold these closed, fold these back on up. It bothers me that there is no place that I can see that you lock these in. The chest just kind of feels like it's hanging off sometimes. It would be nice if there was a way that that clipped. Overall though, once it's all together, it's not a deal breaker. And if you really want, you can still see his little head there over the top of his shield. I'm pretty sure he did that once before. And then you take this and then you slide it on down over his head, and you flip the helmet back to reveal the actual face, and then we just kind of angle the antennas there however you feel looks best. And there we go, we've got Star Saber. And as you can see, whoops, we forgot to put these back up. Let's put that back. Here we go. Maybe. There we go. And as you can see, the Sabers still were in there the whole time. Most of his accessories now can be pegged in somewhere. We can take this piece, you kind of leave it closed, and you peg this on his back. You take the gun here, and you peg this on his back. And there's really nothing to do with the shield outside of put it in his hand. So let's bring him around to the front here, and let's talk some articulation on this guy. So to start with his head, it's on the swivel, and then because of the way the helmet works, you do get some up and down. He definitely can make a pretty mean looking face. I do find I have to push his face down a little bit to get the best overall look, but very cool. The arms it's weird. There's no ratchet as far as I can see in the actual arm here. If it is ratcheted, I can't feel it to go in and out. It gets a little bit more range than Ultra Magnus did, but not a whole bunch. 180 there, nice joint. Down here, you do have this swivel out this way. I suppose to get some really cool sword poses on it, so that's always a plus. There is a bicep swivel, well actually it's an elbow swivel, a double jointed elbow to kind of give you a little bit more range of motion due to the arms here. Coming to the hands, You have the rotation, the in and out from actually not from transformation, just an extra joint built in. The pointer finger is separately jointed from the rest. That's perfect articulation if you ask me. It doesn't need any more. You do have a bit of a side to side on here. It's stiff on mine, so I'm kind of afraid to do much with that, but it exists. It does go around. Yeah, it looks like at least that there's that side to side on his waist, but since you can't really see in there, it's kind of hard to see if that's really what it is. It looks like a ratcheted like tube there, but it's also the same thing that you don't really want to mess with it too much because of the cost, I guess. The hip armor on the front is jointed, the back is not, so you're limited on your back by that. The front, there's plenty of motion out of there. I guess you could get more motion, but again, it's good enough for what it is. And I just realized I forgot one piece of the transformation. I forgot to flip its hips like this as we got down here. So again, still not much that way. Just fine that way. Knee joint, not quite 90, but good enough. Really don't have any problems with that. Side to side, only getting about one click out of there. But it's pretty okay. I don't really think that that's too big of an issue. Knee does have a swivel, and down here the leg does have a rotation on the ankle here, and then you do get a little bit of back and forth on the whole joint back here. You can see rotates. A nice die cast for the thrusters to give extra weight down here. A really solid choice there. So we can give him, of course, some of his weapons. Very easy. Shield just kind of fits around his fingers here, and then as you close them up, it kind of fits in place here. And the nice thing is, I don't know if you can see it in there. It's probably a little bit hard to see. Let's take this out, actually. You can see that his fingers on the inside have like a channel to actually grip the thing that you're trying to make them grip. So it's pretty nice. As it all comes together, it fastens his weapon in on both sides there, if that's clear, hopefully. And you can see this joint. I don't know why they didn't ratchet this joint, because it's not strong enough to hold his shield with the elbow joint, so you have to use this lower joint, which is a little bit better for getting it done. And I just noticed he actually does have a good range of motion out of his elbow with that lower joint, so I suppose it is intended to use the bottom joint, not the top. And let's actually get this pegged in properly. We'll take the gun here off his back. You can fold this down, and same thing on this side, a little bit easier than the shield. You can plug this on in, close this on up, and you've got him holding a gun. Though I will say the gun does feel pretty darn small on the actual Star Saber mode. So what is Star Saber without his saber? And you have a couple options. We can take this piece here and we can flip this out like this and flip this piece, and then you can kind of close everything back on up like this, and that makes the handle here for his sword just like this. You take this piece and you clip that open, and we'll go ahead and open this piece and slide out the actual blade here, if we can get it. Come on, fingers, stop failing me. There we go. So we can do that, and we take this piece and you just kind of clip it on in here like so, and fold this up and closed. This joint should close better, but I'm having trouble getting the inside red joint to actually do any kind of swiveling. So for mine, it just has that little angle there, but that's okay, because once it's in his hand, you certainly can't really see it, and he's looking good. He's not really holding it in any real meaningful way though, if you ask me, with the sword blade, you know, facing you. So they've also offered a second option, and that is done by taking this, opening it up, putting it back away like so, and then you take this piece, and I haven't done this yet, hopefully I'm doing this right. There we go. It just kind of slides in and clips in there, and then that gives you this other piece that has an extended hilt on it, so you can actually make him hold it with both hands if you really want. And in my opinion, this is the better one, just because you can actually turn it in his hands and he still holds it pretty good, so you can get a much cooler looking pose, in my opinion. So before we transform Star Saber back to his other modes, let's put in our MP-10 here, and you can see just towers over MP-10. And the more recent Ultra Magnus. So Star Saber is huge. He is well worth the money. I think I might be going out on a limb to say he's my favorite masterpiece at this point. He's certainly the one with the most play value and the most interesting things, in my opinion, that you can do with it. So yeah, very cool. Alright, so one quick correction before we take the V-Star back to its vehicle mode. I said you could dual wheel or hold this with both hands. I, in pictures, have been unable to find a way to make that happen. So I'm not really sure. And one other thing I wanted to point out, I was looking at the instructions a little earlier, and I saw this ship here going onto the stand, and I have no idea what ship that is. It's certainly not Star Saber. So if anybody knows, let me know. I have no idea what that is. Anyway, let's get him back to his Star Saber, or the individual modes. So we'll just start by taking all the accessories off here. Flip these forward, flip that open, undo this panel, and we'll pull the head off here like this, and fold this all the way up, and fold these little pieces forward. We'll get back to them later on, just leave them somewhere else. Take this. This is tough, so push the button and pull him out. It's actually easier now. It was harder the very first time I did it, so I probably looked dumb saying it was tough, right? So you already saw this. We're just going to put that to the side, refer to earlier to transform him back. So we got this going on. Now we can take these and push them right back up into their spot there. Come down to the legs, and you know what, we're gonna see if we can do this. I'm not sure if we can do it. Actually, we can't. So we gotta take these and fold them in like this, and then fold that back out. Now, to unlock this piece, you gotta take your finger and push this button right here, and that'll unlock that leg piece like that. This is why we need the leg sideways, so we can actually get this all to collapse back in together. So we'll take these feet, close them on up, pull them closed. I just want to get them out of the way. And once again on this side, push the button to release it and bring it on up like so. Now what we're going to do is take the hands here and flip them so you have that hole facing that piece here, and this will all just kind of peg together like that. So once again, make sure you have everything all properly lined up, and peg these together like so. Before we push all this together though, we're going to take this back piece, fold this back down and into place here on both sides. We can close our little flap back here, which do tab in on each of the sides. And once we have that down and in place, you can see as we close this, we should be able to get the legs on top of this little blue piece to kind of, oops, hold it a little bit more securely together like that. And that's pretty well the V-Star. We just flip up these wings like so. Flip this piece up, flip the little clip on out, and you take this and strap this camera so we can see it all better. You take this piece, clip it together, and then I just personally just fold it down as close as I can to the body. I think that just makes it look best, personally. And there we go. Now we got the V-Star back in its vehicle mode, and I will say I do have trouble with these little blue clips on occasion, not feeling like they've locked in completely properly. But there we go. There's the V-Star, and that was Star Saber. And if you are interested in him, or have any interest in Star Saber, I say pick him up. He's certainly cheaper than the G1 version is, and he is pretty awesome. So this is T2RX6. I'll see you next time.